Welcome to the Super7 Super Awesome panel at PowerCon 2018. Welcome to all of you. If it's your first time, thank you for coming. If it's your fifth time, sixth time, thank you for coming. This is Brian Flynn.
Hey!
This is Josh Herbolsheimer.
Hello.
They are responsible for, in my opinion, saving Masters of the Universe Classics and offering us some more wonderful products. They will be telling you about stuff that's coming, stuff that has recently been revealed, stuff that will be coming to you in the mail soon. And again, I said if you had any questions, you can wait till the end. There will be a 10-minute Q&A, and you can line up there. Anyone with power passes, they told me to say this 100 times, sit in the front row, and enjoy.
Yay!
All right.
That's professional strength right there. We're not going to live up to that.
Yeah.
So anyways, hi. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Brian Flynn, as was said. This is Josh Herbolsheimer.
Howdy.
We are Super7. So are you driving? Am I driving?
I'll drive.
You drive? All right.
Whoop.
Or maybe not.
Oh. Hold on. Fail. We're going to do it like this.
Ooh.
Going old school style.
Yeah. All right. So for any of those that don't know, this is the long-term Super7 manifesto, so we stick this on everything. So just in case you want to know where we're coming from when we make stuff, this is where we're coming from. We're just a bunch of old toy nerds and, everything else, and no one else made the toys we wanted, so we started making what we wanted to make because no one else would do it.
There we go.
All right. So last year we gave you the rundown of the history of the company. So this year, let's talk about all the stuff we made this year and stuff that's coming up. So 2018 for Masters of the Universe. So first off, we did the first wave of classics that came out this year and everything. This, with Quake and everybody, this was a really good wave. And thank you to everyone that bought this stuff. We'll probably say this a bunch of times going through the presentation, but we don't get to make the toys if you guys don't buy the toys. So I appreciate you buying them, so I get to make toys for a living. So this was our first wave.
Yep.
I don't know if you've got other things you want to add.
No, it was cool to. Really, it's cool to get to work on any of this. Like Brian said, we're so appreciative to have a bunch of people that are excited about it as we are, so we can do things like make a rad, super deluxe articulated Quake, which is kind of a deep cut, but a cool thing.
Yeah. So then we followed that up with the, I always think, whether I'm calling it Club Grayskull or Collector's Choice, I'm always like, it's classics and Filmation. It's much easier. So, then our first big Filmation wave with Hordak, Man-at-Arms, and everyone. This, same thing. This sort of happened at the same time. There's a little bit of consternation on the color of Triclops, but I think we suffered through that together. And hopefully everybody's happy. We worked through that, but once again, thank you guys very much for that wave. And then Stridor. Most of you finally got Stridor here in the last couple weeks. And then for a lot of you, you've received your shipping notifications today. We apologize for that. As in general with all of us, not just including Masters, Super7 has been growing, and as we move to bigger and bigger warehouses, the back-end complexity of syncing up your online store with your inventory management software that has to then talk to the shipping department, that's got to reconcile with your accounting to QuickBooks to make sure that the inventory assets are correct. Some of these things don't always line up exactly how they're supposed to be. So at the warehouse level, every single shipping email went out. That does not mean that it's synced perfectly with the online store to then send to your individual orders. So once we figured out that hadn't gone right, they were just sitting in a queue, and then they batch processed, and many of you got your shipping notifications several days after you got your toy. So there's all these things where you're just like, we got everything right, and then we couldn't even get a shipping notification out properly. So apologize for that, but there's all these weird little things in the background that run around on this stuff. It's all good.
Yeah.
And then for those of you that may have not taken it out of the box, if you look very closely, you'll notice on his neck that the neck panels are all matte, but the deco along the edge is gloss. So they're matte and gloss silver. That's one of those things there. Little detail.
Also, I realize I put the photo up of the wrong helmet. If you haven't gotten yours yet, it does come with the correct. It actually comes with both helmets.
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah.
And then we're on a boat.
On a boat.
On a boat. If this was one of our videos, we'd have the boat going with the toys sitting on it. But yes, these are actually on the boat on our way to us. So within the next month, you should be seeing these in your mailbox. So you will get your Dial-A-Mug and your Wrap Trap, and you will get Karg. And also on the boat, Sorceress, Tongue Lasher, Merman. So they're on a boat. They're really coming to you. So within the month, you should be getting these 8 figures. And this was another big wave, and we appreciate everybody that bought in on this. I realize 8 at once sometimes is a little difficult. The good news about all of this is we've been working through this is that we've been moving to try to get properly on schedule with our best intentions into more of a quarterly drop zone. So every 3 months we'll give you 4 new figures, and they'll be paced. So going with the next wave, which we showed off at San Diego, which we probably have a slide for. I don't think it's next, though. It's the same thing. It's like, we'll give you 4 figures, then you wait 3 months. Then we'll give you 4 new figures, and then you wait 3 months. And then we'll give you 4 new figures. So we're going to try to be regular and smaller at a time so you don't have to pay for 8 at once.
And to that point as well, I think we've gotten farther ahead. So the next wave of figures, by the time the pre-order happens, the tooling is already finished and whatnot. So the wait time between order and delivery will be much shorter than these first ones where we sort of had to invent the wheel a bit.
Yeah, so that is a good point that Josh brings up. Like the goal is by the time the pre-order actually happens, we have finished plastic with paint apps, everything is done. All we have to do is then collect the number of orders, manufacture them, which is usually a 2 to 2.5 month process, put them on a boat, that's a month, and then you get them. So that every time it's just a matter of manufacturing and delivery. There's no more prototyping that needs to happen. There's nothing like that. So same thing like when you look in the case here at the booth and you can see the plastic test shots of the new figures. That pre-order is not going to happen until the end of September. So by the time we get to the end of September, we'll have full deco done, ready to go. So we're ready to go into production the moment the pre-order happens. So it should shorten our delivery windows a good bit.
Okay.
On a boat. Then there was this. So when I don't know, we've explained this in videos before, but when we did the original idea around epic battles, as collectors, we all know that the old 2 and 3 packs are super expensive and rare, and we're never going to own them. And then we have all these internal conversations about, oh, it'd be really cool to make 2 packs. And, you know, that would be a really great nod to the vintage figures. And then we're like, oh man, but the moment I make this, everybody's gonna be like, oh man, they're trying to sell me the same figure twice. Like, it's just a repack. Like, they're just trying to bleed me for money. So we're like, how do we do some of this fun alternate packaging where the toy is the same, but make it a way that would be fun to get? And so far, like, so when we did this one, we're like, oh, when we put up Stridor, we can put up the 2 packs as a fun way for the guy. Because basically what happens with our pre-orders is the first 24 hours, we sell half of them, and the last 24 hours, we sell half of them. And then nobody buys anything in the middle. So we're like, okay, for that guy or gal, pardon me, that jumps in the first 24 hours, like, I need it, I'm ready, here's my money, sign me up. We're like, oh, we'll have a little thank you. Like, oh, here's a cool little alternate package. It's not the regular production, but it's an alternate package. You know, a little something nice for you. Of course, that completely backfired on us, where everybody melted down and thought that we were never going to make these figures available in any way, shape, or form since we hadn't been talking about them. So we apologize for everybody for not communicating that clearer. But thank you to everyone that did jump in and buy those. We hope that you like them. And then this was yet another example of as we moved into our new warehouse, we spent literally like weeks dealing with how order comes in, how it's done, how you put it, how it goes into the system, how it reconciles with everything, so that all of the back end moves smoothly. And then apparently, I didn't know that we needed to say this, but apparently we have to tell people, and you have to put bubble wrap in the box. And so like they ship all these out and everybody gets them and it's a box rattling around inside the box when the whole point of buying it was the box. And we're just like, really? Like you guys didn't, there's no paper, there's no bubble pack, there's nothing in here. And they're like, oh, you didn't say we needed to. I'm like, oh my God. Like, because we spent so much time worrying about these other problems that some of the most obvious stuff sometimes gets missed. We're worrying about little things. So apologize to everybody that didn't get those. I'm sorry. But you will get them on card. Which brings us to... Oh, no. We're going to jump into... Hey, Wave 4 reactions. So Wave 4 reaction is available now. So for the older collectors in us that grew up with Star Wars and then started collecting Masters, these make complete sense and we really like them. For all of you that started with Masters and went into Transformers and hate these, I apologize that you don't like them. But I like making them, so we're going to keep making them. And then there's the first of the, what we always sort of internally talk about is the vintage figures, the sort of as seen on TV, accurate 5.5-inch figures. So this was same thing. This item is, I guess, a little different than when we deal with the deluxe figures. With the deluxe figures, they're very, very difficult and expensive to make. We cannot carry inventory, nor do we want to carry inventory. Sort of like back in the, sometimes with some of the issues with Matty Collector, they would make too many of them, they'd sit in the warehouse and they end up at big lots. We can't really do that. So we do those as a very definite, like we are making these exactly to however many people order them, then they're gone and we move on. This product is designed to be on the shelf for a while. People want these. We're going to continue making these figures. So with that, it wasn't so much a pre-order as a pre-book. So in this case, we were like, we know the fans want to know. They got their order. They're going to get it. Tell me it's here. So we make this sort of available as a pre-book to where everybody can like buy into it. The first ones that we get in, we will ship to you and get them. But if you missed this and you missed the pre-order window that just closed, don't worry. We'll have more of them available. We want people to be able to buy Masters of the Universe toys. And this is a line that we can make available. So this first wave is coming. It'll land in October, and it's super exciting. We really like this. Hopefully you do.
These are fun.
Yeah. So then we're going chronological. So that takes us to San Diego, where instead of Skeletor's lair, we had Hordak's lair this year. So we got a little bit of that. And then we had the Laughing Prince Adam, which once again,
maybe you heard of it?
Yeah, we severely underestimated how many people we thought were going to want that. Because we were like, okay, here's all the people that collect classics. Now here's all the people that are going to want a meme. And there are all the people. And then instead it was like, no, actually, most of the people that bought this toy don't collect Masters of the Universe at all. Like, they want that Four Non-Blondes meme toy. So obviously we ended up opening that up into a sort of a wide pre-order. Same sort of thing. Like, my job is to not make people toys. It's like, I want to sell people toys and I want people that want them to be able to get them. So we made that open to a wide pre-order so anybody that wanted it could get it. But at the same time, the pre-order is just during San Diego. Like, there's a time and a place for it. Then we did Hordak's Lair, where we showed off Snake Mountain, which we also have over here, which is a beast. We'll talk about Snake in a minute. There, you can see the rug that's in there, the rug that's up right now. Because same thing where everybody's like, how much for that rug? We're like, look, just if you want the rug, you can buy the rug. If you don't want the rug, it's okay. We're going to make a few, and that's it. We did the update to the Skeletor's Lair photo with Hordak, the painting by Jason Edmiston, which turned out great, and the Princess of Power 2-pack for reaction.
There we go.
There we go. And lots of T-shirts, as well as the Skeletor plaid. So that way now you can go to work in Masters of the Universe, apparently.
Classy.
Yeah, this is classy Masters. This is dressed up Masters.
Yeah, we've got classy and beachwear. That's kind of...
Exactly. And then the sort of evolution of M.U.S.C.L.E into Keshi Surprise, which is a bunch of the other stuff that we're working on. So the original M.U.S.C.L E figures, I assume most of you know, because if you're at this point and at this convention, you're well deep in the well of toys. But for the 4 of you that don't know it, so M.U.S.C.L E figures that were imported into the States were originally Keshi figures of... why am I...
Kinnikuman.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name. That's bad. My cred just dropped. So Kinnikuman, which was a wrestling manga. And so those were brought over. At the same time, there's also a Japanese thing called Bakuraman, which are stickers that come with candy, these super deformed stickers. So in this, we're going to a more of a blind box thing with M.U.S.C.L E, where you can get the different figures as original Keshi figures with Bakuraman stickers. So they all have like little prism hologram stickers of all the little characters that go along with them as well. So you get both the original Japanese Keshi look and feel, plus the Bakuraman sticker all in one for Keshi Surprise. Then, which we'll talk about, is unboxing. Do we only have one unboxing slide?
We got 2.
We got 2, okay. So unboxing. This was a very interesting thing, and I think it's interesting for all Masters collectors because this is something we learned. So they've had La Mole, which is a comic book convention, for a number of years. Last year's unboxing was their first toy convention. We went as guests of the convention, and we were pretty blown away by the fandom in Mexico. And so we went as exhibitors this year. The thing that we learned there is in America, you sort of have your licenses start at Star Wars is number 1, Transformers is number 2, superheroes fall right in there. You get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then you've got to go down a little ways before you get to Masters of the Universe. When you go to Mexico, it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Masters of the Universe, and Thundercats. So the average person on the street, just your regular guy, like you're wearing a Los Amos shirt walking down the street, he's like, oh yeah, Los Amos, I grew up on that. Like the general population has a much greater knowledge and appreciation of Masters than you would see here in the States. And secondarily, the collectors are even crazier about it. So, to sound myopic, coming from America, I was just like, oh yeah, there's always been Mexican collectors that buy stuff from us. It's no big deal. Then you go down there and you're like, oh, I didn't know it was like that. I've clearly overlooked this. So going in this year, we just wanted to make a thank you to the Mexican fans as sort of like, hey, the history that you guys have within Masters of the Universe is just as valid as the American history. So if we're making 5.5-inch figures on American cards for the American audience, going to Mexico, we should make the 5.5-inch figures in Mexican Los Amos boxes for the Mexican fans. Is that the next slide?
I think it's 2.
Oh, there they are. And so, same thing though, we also started on this a year ago when there was less people paying attention to what we were doing. So, by the time we got to Mexico, to go to unboxing, to go to Mexico City, we already knew that we probably didn't have enough to go around, but we felt pretty good about it. I don't think that we expected the response from the domestic customer for the Los Amos boxes. But it was the same thing where we're like, it's the same figure, you're okay, you're gonna be complete, it's just a packaging variant as a thank you to these guys. So, it was a tricky thing where it's very interesting because like same thing, we saved a couple boxes back and brought them down here, but it's interesting to watch everyone here in this room switch from being like, I just want my Masters thing that I've always been collecting, and that's the only thing I want, which is probably where we were 2 years ago, to now where they're like, no, I'm really interested in these other variations of the line that you guys are making, and I want to get in on that stuff too. So for us to know as we go forward, it's like, oh, when we do stuff like this, we can't simply do a thing where it's just like, oh, we made this for these guys over here because it would be fun to do. Because now I've got a whole people over here that are pissed off that they didn't get it. So, apologies to all of you that did not get the Los Amos boxes, but we will endeavor to make these releases bigger next time when we do these sort of fun things so that if you want it, you have the opportunity to get it. Because once again, my job is not to prevent you from buying toys. So,
I'm going to go backwards here. Really, just because I love these two, this Orko and Skeletor costume. That was pretty great.
Yeah, and then these are the recolors here are based on a Mexican mini comic where they screwed up the color separation in one signature of the comic. So in one signature, they're completely wrong colors, but the rest of the comic, they're fine. So then these are colored up to match these mini comics that only came out in Mexico.
Kind of a deep cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then there's these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you to Val and the entire PowerCon staff, obviously, for having us and throwing the party that we can all attend. These are the exclusives that we made with everybody here at PowerCon. We did get some grief on the fact that Driel and Montork didn't come out in Classics first, but in talking about it, we were like, okay, the Classics version would have some more detail in the beard? Would that really be the only noticeable difference of any sort? And we also sort of came back like, if you're only going to get one Driel and one Montork, which one you want the one that looks like the animation. So apologies if we have offended the linear process of how things must debut in Classics first before they come out in Filmation. But we struggled with trying to define exactly how different those toys could really be between those two lines. And hopefully we found a place where everybody can be happy. I hope. I know there's somebody over here right now that is not happy with this decision. And then today for PowerCon, same thing, like having fun, like a lot of the things, like I said, we're trying to make Masters toys. We are collectors. We want to make a lot of things. So it's like, I'm not trying to make everything for everybody all the time. There's plenty of places for us to make things for only part of you. So, reaction is one of those lines that not everybody in this room, and I would say that a good portion of this room doesn't really collect. But for the guy that does collect it, or the gal that does collect it, I apologize, they're excited about. So it's an easy place for us to kind of really come in and do some of those playful colorway variants, doing mini comic Beastman, doing Cobra Khan from Top Toys, doing Green Tila, those kind of things. It's just a fun place to play, and it's not an expensive place where if we were doing these in Classics, which many of you would like, if we were doing these in Classics, all of a sudden it's like I'm having to invest like $35 a whack, like this is getting expensive just to give me a recolor. Reaction's far more inexpensive. We can easily make these recolors, and it's a fun place to do all these homages that we might not be able to do in more expensive lines. There's the rug.
Oh, yeah.
So the rug's 2 years old at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And we were supposed to make it 2 years ago at San Diego, and through some shenanigans and weirdness, that's not worth talking about. All of a sudden, we couldn't sell it. So it's been sort of idly hanging out. And the long story short, we worked through some other stuff, and then magically we could make it again. So we just were like, okay, this is a weird thing. And it's funny, but I don't know how many people think it's $195 funny. So, it's the same sort of thing. Like, this would be cool to make, and it's kind of screwed up that you make it for real. So let's just make it, and then same thing, we'll put it up. Whoever wants it can order it. We'll make however many people want, and then it'll be gone. So we did our fake IKEA ad.
How do you pronounce that?
I don't know. There's actually a Swedish guy in the office, and he translated it for us. So, but it's the same thing where it's like, this is goofy and fun, and it doesn't have to be for everybody. But for like the few people that want it, it's like, that's cool. I got that. So that's something that's available till the 30th, I believe.
Yes.
So till the 30th, you have your chance to buy your Dungeon sticker rug, or come by the booth and stand on it yourself. It's about this wide. Because that was the first thing everybody kept going back, it's a doormat? And we're like, no, it's huge. Haven't you seen the pictures? Oh, wait, no, you haven't. Okay, sorry.
Whoops.
So this was so not only did we show these to you for the first time, this is us getting ahead of schedule, as we talked about. They are done, they are shown, they are in the case, and they are available for pre-book starting today. for 1 month. So we've got Tila, Man-at-Arms, Beastman, and Robot He-Man, which I can guarantee you none of you thought was going to be in the next wave. We're like, I'm sure people are like, well, it's going to be Beastman, it's going to be Merman. It's like, aha, we surprised you with Robot He-Man. So, yeah, same thing. We're working on several things of these, but the goal, same thing, is by the time we get to the point where we can show you these things, we're right on the heels of when we can actually place orders and then deliver. So we've been working for quite a long time to get ahead of schedule, per se.
Yep.
And then there's Hero and Eldor. We've only been talking about this forever.
It's like 30 years in the making, I think, something like that.
Yeah, and we've been showing prototypes for a long time. But anyways, the really fun thing that's going to be about these two guys is that both of them are going to come with a booklet. And that mini book, actually, these were designed by Alan Tyler, who has passed away. His estate, I don't know, sold, gave, whatever. Anyways, through a variety of processes, we've been able to get his estate, and we have 250 pages of unreleased Masters of the Universe concept art, including the evolution of where Hero and Eldor came from. So the mini comics, what would be normally a mini comic, is a mini booklet showing you the design process and evolution of how Eldor started to where it finished, and same thing with Hero. So like Eldor originally came with a scroll instead of a book and things like that. And that he originally had this sort of crystal face before he later there was a different character that was like this old wizard that they used. And eventually they just literally took the old wizard's face and stuck it in this other guy. So it's going to be, it's a really cool little story where you can you can see sort of like, here's the process behind the scenes and how these characters came to life. So I think that's going to be a really cool little nod on this. So, what's next? I don't. What's next?
I don't know. Let's find out.
What's next side?
Let's find out.
What's the next side? Yay! Wave 3. So obviously, in the case here, you can see the paint masters, and you can also see plastic test shots from the factory. This pre-order will probably happen, I believe is scheduled for late September.
Yep.
So by the time we get to late September, these figures will be done, dialed, finished. You'll be able to see what the production figure looks like before you place your order, and those will be ready to go. So Club Grayskull, or Filmation as I always call it, Filmation Wave 3 will be in September. Next, let's see, Snake Mountain. Everybody's like,
oh, this guy.
Yay, Snake Mountain. So we've pretty well figured out how to make this thing. What I have not figured out is how to ship this thing. So that's really the big thing that's holding us up now. And we expect to take a good, another month or two to figure out how we ship this, not only domestically, but internationally. This thing's going to be gigantic. Or it is gigantic. You've seen it. And in boxes, it's going to be even bigger. And then because that's the box, we're going to have to put that then inside of a shipping box and make sure that doesn't get damaged. And then how do we get this in as cost-effective as possible to the corners of the globe? Like for all of the German collectors and the Mexican collectors and the Argentinian collectors or the Canadian collectors or the Australian guys. Like they don't have to pay $8 zillion to ship one of these home. So we're working on it. We expect that by October we'll be able to really talk about here's what it is, here's how big it is, this is what it's going to take to get it to people, and then we can start talking about a Kickstarter version of this thing.
Sweet. Yep.
Sweet. Yeah.
All right.
Reaction figure wave 5? Yeah. We're working on.
I don't know.
These aren't going to have pictures. This is just words. So we're working on Reaction Wave 5 right now. So to some of your disappointment, we are still marching hard and heavy on Reaction. All right. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. We might be working on something
means.
about that. We might be doing something about
Something
that.
like that.
All right. There we go. We just said thank you. We should probably mention, because it's the most asked question, is when are the next line of classics coming out? and everything. So obviously we're working on the next Filmation wave right now. We are working on a Classics wave, but you won't see it for a little while, but it's not dead and gone forever. We are working on Classics figures as well. So, all right.
There you have it.
How did we do time-wise?
We're about halfway.
We did halfway. We did much better than last year. Hello.
Anyway, there we go. Now we're going to have a Q&A. But let's first thank them for coming today. And
Thank you.
And thank you for keeping this going and for giving us some diverse product. I'm super happy about that, and I know a lot of other fans aren't as well. So thank you for doing that. If you have a question, come to the mic. I know there have to be some. I have a couple.
Apparently there's none. That's
Let
great.
me
We can go.
ask- Zero.
Oh, here
Here we go.
Let me actually. Let me start with a question.
Sure.
The She-Ra, the Filmation She-Ra, that's coming in the next wave. Is her skirt going to be soft like the Prince Adam vest so that she can sit on the horse?
She should be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Okay. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Okay, so y'all talked about a Kickstarter for Snake Mountain, of course.
Yes.
Are y'all like certain on that? Because I know they like take like a percentage. Have y'all not?
Well, when I say Kickstarter as a adjective at this point, it'll be on our site and we'll have to sell X amount of pieces. But, I just got to make sure before I spend $8 billion to tool this thing that enough people want it.
So we're not going to see it on Kickstarter. Perfect. Just making sure.
You're going to see you can see the Super7 starter. I don't know.
Excellent. No, that's perfect. Y'all can make this. I mean, we could do other stuff. You could be like, yeah, we want to do this other toy, but how many people would be interested? And you're like, hey, let's do the website.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, two things. First of all, if Ultimates does come back, could you please consider maybe doing some of those figures that unfortunately had some QA issues in the previous iteration of Classics, like Roboto and Green Goddess, because I'd like to have one that didn't shatter when I looked at it. Second, I asked this a couple years ago. I'm going to ask it again. So we got part of Battle Cat, like his head and, I think part of a rug. Could we get the rest of him, like some mittens or, something? Let's use all of Battle Cat?
Yeah. Is this the old, like I'm supposed to do the American Indian thing where you use every part of the animal? Exactly. No, I mean, Battle Cat's one of those it's a lot like vehicles. They're really fun and exciting. They look great. And then you sort of break them apart and you're like, oh my God, there's 749 pieces in here. And generally speaking, with all of this stuff, the amount of people that buy figures, there's a big drop between the amount of people that will buy vehicles and accessories. But that said, Battle Cat and Cringer are much more inherent characters in the show than a traditional vehicle. We have talked a bunch about that. It's not on something that we're working on like right this second, but we have talked about how we bring those in.
I get more towards the fun things like the rugs. Like slippers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We should probably, we're going to try to make a bunch more stuff, but yeah. Yes. I stammered around that a few times, wandered around it, looked at it, and then came back to yes, but yes.
Well, hey guys, but before I got to follow up on this gentleman's comment, I would love to see a glow-in-the-dark goddess figure, and I would love a Skeletor bathrobe. But my question to you guys is that I'm starting to love the vintage-size figures and all that, and I keep wondering, what are your plans with them? Are you eventually going to break away from the Filmation characters? And if you do, are you going to make them look like cartoons, like, for example, like Blade or Wildor, who never got Filmation? Is that in the cards?
Should I answer every question, or would you like to answer something?
I don't know.
Well, could you?
I mean, we've talked a lot about we have a few waves sort of planned out that are sort of without spilling the beans too much, kind of in the direction that we're going. But there's some wild cards in there and some fun things. Whether we get into movie stuff, I'm not sure.
Car.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, 2 questions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys started talking about it yet or not. Financing for the Snake Mountain. I'm guessing it's going to be a grip. I know you did that with previous things.
Yeah, it's going to be. We know it's going to be expensive. I mean, it's this tall, So we're going to try to make it as easy for everyone as possible. So whether it's like 6-month payment plans or whatever else we got to do, we're definitely assuming that that's going to be part of it, because there are a fair number of collectors that will be able to just say, yes, I'm ready to buy it. But there are a lot of people that take advantage of those where it's like, I can't do it all at once. I need to spread this out. So on something that preposterous, we're definitely going to have that option.
And the second question, I know you guys mentioned about underestimating. Any possible chance to get Los Amos t-shirts? I know you guys made for the show. Is it possible to get them up here? Because
that's an easy thing to do. I think same thing. It was like, how many people want the Los Amos shirt? Like, oh, okay. All right, we got at least 8. Yeah, so making T-shirts is easy. So yeah, that's something that a couple people have asked about. So I all we have to do is say, oh yeah, we should make some more of those. So yeah,
we should.
Yeah. Okay. Hey Josh, we should make some more Los Amos shirts.
On it.
There we go.
Are you guys going to make Casco Grayskull?
Well, the one that was already made?
No, are you guys planning to do Casco Grayskull?
As
the playset.
But they made the playset a few years back.
You mean vintage style?
Yeah.
Or vintage style.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Like Filmation style vintage?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I thought we were talking about that with somebody earlier. I was like, okay, hold on. It's just one of those things where you're like, that's a cool idea, and then I try to think back like all the stuff we're trying to do right now. I'm like, don't derail the train quite yet. But
like,
yeah, no, it's one of those things where I have a catch-22 with that. I go, okay, I know what I would do. Start immediately like, how I would tweak it to make it feel like the cartoon. But then I'm like, the original Grayskull is so awesome. I kind of don't want to mess with it, because it's like, as much as we all talk about the figures here, and maybe this is me, so when I talk about this, I was like, as far as collecting and playing with the vintage toys, Grayskull is actually, I think, more important than Skeletor and He-Man. You wanted that castle and the figures to play in the castle. I don't know how many people got sucked in through the castle more than anything else. And it's so awesome and so perfect. I don't know that I want to mess with it, but at the same time, I'm like, I know what we could do to make another version of it that could be really cool.
Such a good plate. I mean, good collector's item for adults.
I don't disagree with you at all. We were actually talking to somebody else about that earlier, and I'm like, oh man, but then does it feel like travesty to go against them? All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But no, to your point, that it would be a very cool thing to make. Right now, we are trying to get Skeletor and He-Man on a boat.
Okay.
But once I get those on a boat and we get the 5.5-inch sort of machine running,
right.
I think it's a very, very interesting thing to think about. It would be big again, but
huge,
it'd be rad.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you think the Snake Mountain debacle is a thing, wait till we start asking for the Eternia Classics version.
Yeah.
And what that's going to cost to ship.
Yikes.
It's coming, baby.
It's actually a town. You just go buy a town and you just go to it.
Absolutely. Now, on that line, what about Fright Zone or Slime Pit in classic style? Possibly, maybe. I mean, we can do Snake Mountain. We can do those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slime Pit's one of those like iconic things that'd
be pretty rad.
It'd be pretty rad.
It'd be smaller than Snake Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a perfect thing. Like if we can get Snake Mountain made, then it makes sense to start considering things like the Slime Pit. But if I don't get Snake Mountain made, then I'm not going to jump into it.
Right. Snake Mountain will happen, then Slime Pit, then Fright Zone, then Eternia.
2025
Eternia. What do you say, folks?
Yeah.
2025. Hey, listen. 2 questions. Ryan, you had said something about this on your channel. VAC metal on Hero, yes and no?
We're going with paint because vac metal
Okay.
doesn't hold up, and if you start turning the arms, it'll chip.
Okay,
And things
right.
like that. So
Like the old Silverhawks.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we were gonna go with paint, even though the
Okay.
original prototype is vac metal. We were gonna go with a metallic paint.
Fantastic. Last question. And this, you guys probably already know this. This is my ignorance. Card got done. So you got the rights to do movie figures?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So no Dolph Lundgren likeness rights.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. It's working. All right. Very good.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to you guys for your continuing creation of all this stuff that we love. I think that's. I think for those of us that had a fun childhood, and I think we owe this property a major part of why we had a fun childhood. It's so nice to be able to like revisit all this stuff in all these cool new forms. So thanks for what you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Thank you.
At the risk of being a huge pain in your ass, I have to ask a question that I think is relevant, so I'm going to throw it out there. How far into the design process of Snake Mountain are you? Like, are you pot committed? Are you in molds? Are you ready for?
We haven't done tooling yet. We won't do tooling until we do the Kickstarter, because that's. I mean, we're pretty far into it, and it costs a lot of money to get to this point. But tooling, which is molds, that's the point where the rubber hits the road. So
You're not there yet.
No, we have not. We have not molded anything.
Cool. So I have a second question.
This part's wrong, and you need to fix it.
No, hold up. No. I'm not saying like could you put like a water slide in or like a walk-in closet for Skeletor stuff? No, but it's more of a practicality thing that I'm wondering if it's not a big deal. Would you guys consider putting little foot pegs scattered around it randomly? Because I feel like it's a missed opportunity to have all these characters that have holes in their feet, but we have to like lean them on something, you know? Because otherwise my daughter, when she slams my door, all the guys fall over.
So what you're saying is we need to make collector stands?
What I'm saying is I love it. I wouldn't change a thing. Like if that's the material possession that I put on display in my adult life, and I can get away with just having to like prop them up every once in a while, that's cool. But if I'm gonna find a way to have a Snake Mountain in my life as well, and I really want it, could you put like little pegs on the play set so that like stuff like that doesn't happen, and you can pose them in cool positions and do all the stuff that you could do with the G.I. Joes when we were kids that you couldn't do with He-Man?
Well, I mean, you bring up a thing which is on any other sort of older toy line or more like the reaction toy lines, everything has pegs all over it. All the play sets have pegs. Like our Planet of the Apes play set, it has pegs. They were all made with pegs. The carrying cases, you flip over the carrying cases and they have pegs, so you can display the things. The question is, aesthetically, do you want pegs or do you not want pegs? What does the room think? Would you go pegs?
We don't like this pegs idea? Come on, hold up, just for a second. Let me throw it out there. Let me just throw it out there. If you don't like it, I'll accept that I'm wrong. But let me just throw this out there. What if the pegs could be aesthetically would look like stalagmites coming up? Like it's Snake Mountain. Their ankles are flimsy. What are those holes in their feet for?
Yeah.
All right.
So no, I mean it's a completely valid question and a functional, thing where we will have these same discussions that like it makes complete sense.
This is a peg-free room, really? I'm living amongst like anarchists here that just want stuff to fall over on them. That's crazy. Sticky dots? Isn't that a candy? What is that?
It's like Earthquake Hold or something like that. The little blue sticky tack.
Oh, really?
Sticky tack.
Next question.
All right. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Same show, 4 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Howdy.
Will there ever be a follow-up or a sequel to Curse of the Three Terrors?
Oh, wouldn't I love to do that? Yes. I'd love to do it. Obviously, we had a great... We were able to do Curse of the Three Terrors, which was, to me, a boon on itself. Like, I still can't believe they let us make it. We talked to them once about being able to try to do a follow-on animation. They said as long as it was a one-off, they were okay with us doing something, but animation is expensive and nobody pays for it. So when we put it on like iTunes and all that other stuff, like download it for $1.99, like, no, I will stream this. Thank you. So we never even, not that it was, we never intended it to be a money-making thing anyways, but we never even broke even. I would love to do it. I think that there's a lot of fun. The fun in the fact that when we talk about it, like, they let us make a Masters cartoon, and it's like, theoretically, one day, somebody might think the stuff we made up is real, So, hopefully one day we'll get back to it and that they'll let us do it. But it really comes into a lot of political stuff with, are they making a movie? Are they not making a movie? Who's creating the content? Who owns the content? How are they distributing the content? And it becomes this big sort of content and IP creation debate.
One more question. If you want to keep Snake Mountain cheap, then will it still have the Bluetooth microphone thing?
No speakers. Yeah. No microphones.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, to me, it's an extra $100 you don't need to pay for to figure out how to put all that stuff in there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't need it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank
we
you.
only have a few more minutes left, so let's keep it just to one question if we can.
Oh.
Just hold it up. Just rock
you.
it out here,
Yeah.
Like,
You can
so
take it
I
off.
can pick it
All
up.
right, yeah.
So like someone said about like the epic battle style Castle Grayskull, like the Snake Mountain never really looked like the Filmation style. So do you think that you might make that?
These are all very good ideas, and so it would be, once again, it would be rad. I think it's the same thing where we've got to get a little bit further in on the 5.5-inch figures, and then we can try to figure out if we can do a Filmation Grayskull. That would be cool. And then I'll make all the stuff as much as people will buy it. So yes, I'd love to, but we haven't even thought about it. But it's a great idea.
I think if we make Grayskull in that style, I think we kind of have to make Snake Mountain sort of like a package, not a package deal literally, but
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll echo your sentiment about the collector stands. If you guys can actually make some accessory stuff, that would be excellent. I will also recommend that if, I don't know who decides to make collector's choice the character selection, because I know you're digging deep no matter which one you pick, but if I could just ask that you keep New Adventures in the conversation. I feel like it's the one faction that hasn't been completed yet. So I just wanted to
that's a solid point.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello again.
He's got there's support for that one.
So at San Diego Comic-Con, I've got the Alien playset from the Reaction. I've got Planet of the Apes very recently, very, very nice. Can we look forward to a Grayskull playset for Reaction? Same. I mean, some people might call it cheap, but it's very, very nice, very retro style. I think it might get a couple of those naysayers that don't like it into it suddenly. Is that something we can think about?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that the person that buys the Reaction playset, there's not very many of us. So when we were making the playset for Planet of the Apes, the whole point was like, okay, we're going to make this for Planet of the Apes. Now we're going to take this out. We're going to put another cardboard background in here and make it into something else. So we've talked about like, should it be Masters? Should it be this? Should it be that? So we're planning on recoloring and doing another playset out of that one.
Yeah.
We haven't decided yet which one, but Masters would be a good
If you
good
do
call.
Masters, what you could do is you could have it like ground looking, and then you can put like a cardboard insert for Snake Mountain or for Castle Grayskull. And the fact that you have the stands already built into them, we could display a bunch of the figures, and then you have a couple of us who might buy like multiple, so we can put all of the figures on. I'm just saying that. So.
Look,
throwing it out there,
like,
money.
You don't have to convince me to go down the rabbit hole. The question is just like, how much stuff can I physically get out at a time?
True.
But the point is, we are going to make that. That's why that one's a little generic and how the body is same, so that we could be like, we can do this more than once because there's no way we're not going to sell enough Planet of the Apes ones to make this worthwhile. But
True.
we're going to do it.
SDCC 19 maybe.
Maybe.
There we go.
Are you going to make any more of the dragons or the dinosaurs? Like
Well-
Granomir?
I'd love to. I love dinosaurs. We don't have any planned today, but we could. That'd be super fun.
You get into some of those things like, we're talking about stuff, but it's a long way away, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. But it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. Not at all.
There you go. You're not completely crushed.
Okay.
I have one question just to close. For the classic style stuff, there are some key variants that we haven't gotten, like Starburst She-Ra, 2000X Sorceress, 2000X Randor. Are those things that you guys have thought about like doing as a special type of offering outside of the waves in any way? Because they don't kind of fit in the waves.
It usually comes back down to who owns and some of that stuff. If it's old and it's Mattel tooling, then I don't have access to it.
I don't think any of that stuff was...
I would need to go.
They would be
Literally,
new.
at some point, I have
They'd
to
be
go
all
back
new.
and go like, okay, who's got this piece? Where's this piece come from?
Those
Kind
would
of thing.
be, those would be all new. They were not made by Mattel for
Yeah.
whatever
So
reason.
if it's stuff that we can leverage our tooling on, those kind of things to me are like they're easy to make available and let however many people want to buy them. So I think in that case, it's probably the same thing that happens with a lot of this. People come up and go, "Have you thought about this?" And you're like, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, yeah, we should do that."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Starburst She-Ra's was the first vintage She-Ra, and they never made her in the classics line. We have everyone else, but not her. I guess because the cape would have been hard, but you figured it out with the sorceress, so.
let's talk about it afterwards.
Yes.
All right. You're like, "Oh no, I got things to talk about."
But I have to do a Mondo panel first.
Priorities.
Anyway,
Priorities.
thank you all so much for being here, and
you,
I hope
everyone.
you enjoy the rest of your con. And let's have a bigger hand for these guys.
Hey, thank you guys
Yeah.
for buying the
Thank
toys.
you. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you.